15 most common Latin legal terms. 1. Ex parte. Ex parte, an action or communication done on behalf of one party without the presence or input of the other party. Example: the judge granted an ex parte motion, allowing the plaintiff to proceed without notifying the defendant. 2. In camera. In camera, a legal proceeding or discussion that takes place in private, typically in a judge's chambers or a closed courtroom. Example: the sensitive evidence was presented in camera to protect the privacy of the individuals involved. 3. Per curiam. Per curiam. A decision made by a court as a whole, rather than by an individual judge, typically used for unanimous or uncontroversial rulings. Example: the Supreme Court issued a per curiam decision, upholding the lower court's ruling without further explanation. 4. In forma pauperis. In forma pauperis, a status granted to individuals who are unable to afford legal fees, allowing them to proceed with a lawsuit without paying court costs. Example: the indigent plaintiff filed a motion to proceed in forma pauperis, seeking to have the court waive the filing fees. 5. In re. In re. A Latin term meaning in the matter of, used to refer to legal proceedings involving a particular case or matter. Example: the court issued an order in re Smith's estate, addressing the distribution of assets among the heirs. 6. Pro se. Pro se, referring to a person who represents themselves in a legal proceeding without the assistance of an attorney. Example: the defendant chose to proceed pro se and presented their own argument in court. 7. Sua Sponte. Sua Sponte, a Latin term meaning on its own accord, used to describe a court's action taken without a party requesting it. Example: the judge dismissed the case Sua Sponte after finding a lack of evidence. 8. Habeas Corpus. Habeas corpus, a legal term meaning you shall have the body, used to challenge the lawfulness of a person's detention or imprisonment. Example: the prisoner filed a petition for a writ of habeas corpus, claiming that their constitutional rights had been violated. 9. Certiorari. Certiorari. A writ issued by a higher court to review the decision of a lower court, typically used in appellate proceedings. Example: the Supreme Court granted certiorari to review the controversial ruling of the Court of Appeals. 10. Quasi. Quasi. A Latin term meaning as if or similar to, used to describe something that resembles or has characteristics of something else. Example: the court treated the relationship between the parties as quasi-marital, awarding spousal support based on their long-term cohabitation. 11. Pro Bono Publico. Pro Bono Publico. A Latin term meaning for the public good, used to describe legal services provided free of charge to those who cannot afford them. Example: the law firm offered pro bono publico representation to low-income clients in need of legal assistance. 12. Mandamus. Mandamus. A court order that commands a government official or agency to perform a specific action or duty. Example: the petitioner sought a writ of mandamus to compel the government agency to release the requested documents. 13. De novo. De novo, a Latin term meaning anew or from the beginning, used to indicate that a case is being heard or reviewed as if it had not been heard before. Example: the appellate court conducted a de novo review of the evidence, independently evaluating the facts of the case. 14. Ad litem. Ad litem, a Latin term meaning for the lawsuit, used to describe the appointment of a person to represent the interests of a party who is incapable of doing so themselves, for instance, a minor or incapacitated person. Example: the court appointed a guardian ad litem to protect the rights of the child during the custody dispute. 15. Amicus Curiae. Amicus Curiae, a Latin term meaning friend of the court, used to refer to a person or organization that provides expertise or assistance to the court in a case in which they are not a party. Example: the environmental group submitted an Amicus Curiae brief, offering their expert opinion on the potential environmental impact of the proposed project.